What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Versus Gravity podcast.
It's been a while, mate.
It's been a
It's
long
been a hot
time.
one.
It's been a hot
And it's
minute.
a hot one as well, mate.
I can't see anything. It's been a hot one. So yeah, lots has happened. We've gone from 7K all the way up to 185K.
Mad.
So yeah, it's been a really big journey over the last couple of months.
Thank you guys. It's all thanks to you. So yeah,
100%.
that's why we're doing this episode, right?
Exactly. Well, tell them why we're doing this episode.
So this is a podcast episode. So for any of you guys that follow us, we did put a poll out around a week ago, basically asking you guys to throw in any of the questions you want us to answer. So that's literally all this episode is going to be about, is a Q&A. Now, we do plan on doing many more of these in the future, but because this is going to be a big one, it's our first one back. I don't think we've posted a podcast in months. Maybe
man.
even a year. By the way, definitely go check out our previous episodes. We've got some amazing guests, whether it's calisthenics, flexibility, lifestyle coaches, kind of more UK based, but we definitely plan on having more people kind of around the world. So if there's anyone that you'd like us to interview, kind of I guess they can DM us or message, comment below the video.
Yeah, wicked.
Anything else, or should we get straight into it?
No, let's go into it, man. Let's do it.
So I'm going to be interrogating Is on here. So this is actually a lie detector test. Do you like CrossFit?
I love it.
He's lying. Right, let me get the first question. So the first question is, how did you guys meet?
Okay, so interesting story. Sam and I met when we were 5 years old. No.
Yeah.
We actually met when we were at uni. In fact, actually, we met before we even started uni.
It's funny.
So it's all back in the days of Facebook, right? Before we started uni, there was a Facebook group which was for our halls.
Yeah.
And we were on there, you know, messaging people, getting to know like our fellow or our peers to be.
Yeah.
And some kid decided to talk about Man United, and me and Sam, we're Arsenal fans, right? Nearly won the league.
We're going to win the league next year.
Next year. And anyway, this kid was just like chatting shit, right, about Man United. And so, yeah, I hope he's doing well. I wish him the best. But anyway, me and Sam just roasted this guy on Facebook, right?
Yeah.
Didn't even know each other at this point, but we just roasted this kid. And then
we bonded over hatred, basically, of Man United.
Of Man United. I think that's acceptable. It's acceptable. So we turn up for first day of uni, and it's first day of freshers. I literally walk into our hall's kitchen where everyone was having like the pre-party sort of stuff, and bang, all I'm met with is, "Hey, it's the Arsenal kid," and I was like, "What?" And literally, it's this guy, right? So that's how we met. Basically, just being best mates ever since, you know, doing all sorts of shit together. You know, whatever it's ever been, like me and Sam have always been doing stuff together for the last, 10 years now?
More, 11. 2013
years.
Was first year of uni, which is mad.
Yeah, so that's how we met.
It's weird, because I feel like we haven't really changed, but we have in many other ways.
You know, it's one thing I actually said to someone yesterday, that the good thing about Sam, and hopefully the good thing about me as well, is you will only get one version of Sam.
Yeah.
You'll never get a different version of you. Like, if you think someone's a twat, you'll tell them they're a twat, you know? You won't ever hold back. So, yeah, Sam's right. We haven't really changed very much. Like, our vision...
core personalities are still the same.
Yeah, 100%.
I would say so.
100%.
But I mean, I interrupted you there, but yeah, vision, motivation, discipline, physiques, that's the full one. It's 10 times better.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's basically how we met. So we bonded over the hatred of Man United, which is a pretty beautiful story. So next question is, what optimal meal intake do you recommend for better calisthenics performance?
Okay, so this is a really good question, because I literally had this conversation with our coach, right?
Yeah.
Like a couple of hours ago. So really, when it comes to calisthenics, you have to think about two things. Number one is you need to be building as much muscle as possible, but also being as lean as possible, so your relative strength is high, right? Which means that being in a calorie surplus might work for you if you're naturally very ectomorphic, so very lean anyway, like Sam.
So like me, yeah.
But if you're like me and you start from the chubby side, then, you know, being in a calorie surplus isn't going to do you much good. You might build muscle, but you're also going to start accumulating a bit of body fat, right? So that's the first thing. The second consideration you have to think about, and the final consideration, is planning your meals around your workouts and not the other way around. Yeah. This is really important. This is something that only like in the last, I'd say, couple of weeks, to be honest, I've really started to understand truly, because now we're getting to that point in our journeys where we're doing more advanced stuff. And what I mean by that is it's important to be eating foods that don't put you in that rest and digest state for too long. Yeah. Because if you're sat there digesting food, like let's say you eat a pizza, right? and it's 1,200 calories. If you're digesting that food for the rest of the day, well, you're not going to have a good workout.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas if you had something a little bit smaller, let's say, or something a little bit more easy to digest, let's say fruit, right? Fruit and maybe some Greek yogurt, and you wanted to train maybe 2 hours later, you'd actually be a lot better off.
Yeah.
Right? So those are the two main things. Let's kind of unpack that first thing. So when it comes to being as lean as possible, it's easy, right? Calorie deficit, everyone knows that. But what does that actually look like on a plate? Easiest answer I can give you is dominate your foods with protein. Make sure you do have a carb source, because you do need to have some form of energy when you're doing this training, right?
Yeah, massively.
100%. Like, it's no different to doing weight training or doing endurance training. At the end of the day, carbs is what's gonna fuel most of your workouts, right? Even if you're doing statics, and honestly, I mean that. And then making sure as well you have a healthy fat source on your plate as well, right? So for me, for example, if I was to have breakfast, I quite like having eggs on toast, but I also include some avocado, smashed avocado on there as well, because this is an easy way of accumulating protein, fats, and obviously some carbs. In terms of the second part, which is like eating easy to digest foods, or eating in a way to sustain your training and make it more efficient, think about how big your meals are.
Yeah.
Think about the type of foods you're eating. So if you're eating really like heavy, refined carbohydrate before your workouts, it's probably not a good idea, because it might irritate your bowels, right? But if you're eating something like, just a small bowl of porridge, like 2-3 hours before, that's okay. You shouldn't feel too bloated from that. But yeah, those are the kind of main things I would say.
What I would add, I mean, pure facts here, which you're getting for free, by the way. It's also about consistency. Pick something that you can consistently eat throughout the days and the weeks and the years. Like, it's all good. Look, we could probably give you the most optimal kind of dietary requirements for performance, for everything. Are you going to be able to sustain that? Probably not, because it's probably going to be quite a boring lifestyle. Look, I know that as a pre-workout, I shouldn't be having cookies or like kind of bad forms of sugar. I can't be asked to make my own food or bring raisins or bring all these other stuff, right? If I have something at hand, if I can just go to a gym and, oh, look, they've got a cookie there, I'm just going to have it, right? So, but that allows me to be more consistent. If I'm super anal about everything, like, oh, no, I have to get this X amount of grams before 20 minutes before my workout. It's like, dude, I might do that for 4 days, and then after that, I'll completely give it up, and then I'll probably end up eating more like shit. So don't get too kind of bogged down in the details. Definitely what Ihsan said is true, but allow yourself some leeway, which allows you to be more consistent throughout your entire training.
I think also the key thing is like you say, be consistent. But again, we're talking about margins here, right? Like, the most important thing when it comes to calisthenics is your training. Is your training plan actually a good training plan? If it's not, well, then you've got another problem to sort out. But yeah, he's 100% right. These things are kind of margins. You've got to get the main stuff right first, and then you can focus on, like, okay, what's the optimal way to be eating? Yeah.
I hope that answers your question. On to the next one. What do you think of crushing rice to strengthen your forearms?
Okay. So this I've seen go around quite a bit. I've also been told this as well as a good way of fixing some forms of tendinitis.
Oh no, like a lot of stuff to do. Actually, that's not ulnar, but yeah.
Yeah, like, or even propagating up towards the elbow, right? So strengthening the whole forearms and basically conditioning the tendons. I think it's a really good way of doing it.
If you can do it.
Exactly, that's the key word. If you can do it. If you are able to put a shitload of rice in a bucket and start doing it, then of course, go ahead and do it.
Consistently as well, that's another thing.
Yeah, 100%.
Is your mum going to be pissed off when you've got rice and couscous all over the house, or is she going to be like, damn, there's some big ass forearms?
Yeah, I know my mum would be pissed off because I'm Bangladeshi. She'll be like, why are we not eating it?
Why not?
Yeah, exactly. So
what a waste of food.
It really, honestly, it depends. Yeah, so like, if you can do it, do it. If you can't, then of course there's plenty of other ways that you can train your forearms. Sam, I'll let you answer this one because you're big on this.
I mean, I've been doing a lot of this, and this is more from like a conditioning aspect. I don't really do it to kind of get big forearms. I want strong forearms and I want conditioned forearms. So I do a lot of kind of wrist extension, wrist flexion, bit of this, bit of the twisting as well. But I mean, in an ideal world, you know what? I probably would do the rice bucket if I could, but that's an extra thing added into my routine. That's just, everything that I do nowadays is, look, am I likely to stick to this consistently? If the answer is not 100% yes, I'm not going to bother doing it, even though I know that it's probably better for me, because I don't see the point in doing something if you're just going to do it for that 1 week and then give it up. If you gave me a bucket of rice, hit it, would I do it every single day? You know what? I probably wouldn't, because that would mean, well, one, I don't have a bucket of rice in the gym, so I'd want to do my workout in the gym. okay, I finish my workout and then come home. I don't want to do another workout.
Yeah.
Once I've left the gym, that's it. That's me done. I want to enjoy my evening, watch Netflix, do whatever, fucking play chess. So for me, it's not really going to work in my lifestyle. If you think that you can do it and you think you're going to stick to it, fuck yeah, the person that does the rice bucket is probably going to be 10 times better and stronger than the person who doesn't do it. So overall, I'd say it's like, it's a good thing to do if you can do it.
Yeah. Main thing, it's just like the first question, consistency.
Consistency, yeah. I feel like consistency is going to be basically you know what, any question from now on,
Consistency is the answer.
Consistency. So I want to combine cali and weight training. What would be a suitable split? That's a really good question.
So, I mean, look, this is actually a question that's come up a lot in our community, right? In our community. And basically, the way that we kind of approach this question to anyone who wants to combine weights and calisthenics is put calisthenics at the start of your workouts. And it's simply because calisthenics is more demanding from a technical perspective than weight training.
Yeah.
Think about the increments, right? There's only so many increments that you can drop in terms of the load for a pull-up, right? You can use only so many bands before it becomes a useless exercise.
Yeah.
The same applies with a push-up or even a dip or even a handstand push-up, right? You have to think of it as, right, this is the strength element of my training. Even if I am doing hypertrophy work, it's still the strength element of my training, and then you can accessorize it with weights.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we're doing with the guys in our community. We're building out a complete library of hybrid workouts.
Yeah.
Where it's a hybrid workout of basically calisthenics first and then into weight training, but doing it in a way that actually is smart, right? So for example, rather than doing a full body split, you might pick a push-pull split, or if you can't do that, you're short on time, you can do an upper-lower split.
Yeah.
But doing it in a way where you have calisthenics first and then having weight training after. So I'll give you an example. If I wanted to do a pull day, I wanted to hit back and biceps, then this is what I would do. I'd start with something like weighted pull-ups, right?
Me gusta.
Maybe I'll do a 5x5, right? It doesn't really matter, okay? Obviously, it depends on your goals, but just for the sake of the example, I might do a 5x5. Then I'll regress down to normal pull-ups, right? So I'll do some normal pull-ups and maybe do 2 sets to failure.
Yeah.
Then I'll pick a bodybuilding exercise with weights. I might do a bent over row to hit the horizontal pulling. So I've done vertical, now I'm going to do horizontal pulling. So I'll do bent over row. I might do 3 sets. I'll do the last set to failure, or I might do 2 sets to failure. Up to you. Depends what your goal is. And then I might hit rear delts, and then I'll hit my biceps with a bicep curl or something like that. And that's it. It doesn't have to be.
Workout.
Yeah, that's it. It just has to be. The thing with workouts is it has to be repeatable, and it has to
be consistent.
It has to be consistent, has to be repeatable, and it has to have progressive overload built in.
Yeah.
Right. So that's what I do.
Yeah, I think it's basically spot on. And it's worth mentioning that I would probably say 70 to 80% of our training was always hybrid. Like it was always using weights. Now it depends what your goal is, because when you say mixing kind of traditional weightlifting and calisthenics, there might be 2 reasons why you might do it. One is because simply, let's be honest, if you want to build an insane physique, calisthenics isn't necessarily the smartest way to go about it. So I've definitely gone through phases where it's like, look, my primary goal is calisthenics, but I also want to build as much muscle as possible from an aesthetics perspective, and doing bicep curls is going to be pretty much infinitely better than any body weight kind of variation from a pure hypertrophy standpoint. Or the other aspect is just like, look, you also want to train weight to kind of supplement and accessorize your normal training. So I'm trying to think of an example.
Well, I think like pike push-ups and a neutral grip dumbbell press.
Exactly.
It's exactly the same movement. And in fact, actually, I'd add to that, and I'd say that if you look at some of the best gymnasts and best calisthenics athletes, they will supplement with weight.
Yeah.
You know?
So like certain movements that are just kind of impossible to hit with just your body weight.
And also it gives you an opportunity to hit muscles in a more isolated way. So like, for example, if I was to compare the pike push-up with the overhead press, the dumbbell overhead press, the pike push-up is harder because my body weight is involved.
Yeah.
B, there's a harder technical element to it as well. I have to make sure I maintain protraction. I need to make sure my elbows are tucked in. So it's a harder exercise. It's a more demanding exercise. The easiest way for me to regress that and still be able to stimulate my delts is to then take a seated position on a bench and then do dumbbell overhead bench, and I can incrementally decrease the load as well to still get the benefit.
Yeah.
Right? So being smart is kind of the way to go. And I say being smart, but all I mean really is thinking of your calisthenics workout as your strength element, and then thinking of your weightlifting stuff as either accessorizing that strength or, as Sam said, purely from a hypertrophy perspective.
Yeah. So I mean, right now my main goal from push is handstand push-ups. on a Friday, I do overhead press. And that's simply because I'm already doing quite a lot of pike push-ups, a lot of handstand push-ups. It's nice to have an exercise where I can just isolate the shoulders and there's no technical element, especially towards the kind of latter end of the week when I'm tired and fatigued.
Exactly.
It's nice not to be like, fuck, I've got pike push-ups again, I can't be asked. My coach, because he's a G, he's like, you know what, fam, here you go, here's some overhead press for you. And again, if I wanted some hypertrophy, I'll just finish off with some lat raises.
Yeah.
Like it's actually not that complicated to kind of mix the two. And I probably would recommend that most people should, and pretty much everyone that we've worked with, we've always made them do both at the start. Because you'll maximize your strength gains, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's exactly why we're building this, the hybrid workout library in the community, because you know, there are things, especially as a beginner, there's going to be things that are inaccessible to you.
Yeah.
There's, like I said, there's only so much you can regress a pull-up. Right, but what you can do is you can change the movement plane and work horizontally, and you can do a dumbbell bent over row, for example. Still work the same muscles.
Pike push-ups. You can't do a pike push-up if you can't do a normal push-up. So how are you going to hit shoulders?
Exactly.
You can't.
Exactly.
So you got to use weight. And of course, the answer is consistency. So best tips for beginners to build strength and potentially muscle as fast as possible.
I'd say, to be honest, it's exactly what we just said in the last one.
Yeah.
It's, you know, it's a mix of calisthenics and weightlifting and doing it in that kind of hybrid style.
And eating enough protein as well.
100%. 100%.
Would you say you'd have to be in a slight surplus?
It really, again, it really depends. You can, you know, remember there's two key factors in building muscle. Number one is sufficient protein to fuel muscle protein synthesis. And number two is sufficient intensity. That's it. The excess calories just speeds up that process, right?
So how would you know if your workouts are intense enough?
Okay, so
as a beginner, how do I know?
Okay, so really, this is quite a difficult question to answer, because I think a lot of beginners' perception of RPE is skewed because they don't actually know what you're capable of, right?
Yeah.
So let's kind of put this into slightly easier terms. If I was a beginner, I would want to try and push my sets as close to not being able to do another good rep. So if I was doing push-ups, if I'm able to do 10 push-ups, I would, and then my 11th one is crap, right? I'm really struggling. That's probably where I'd stop. If you really want to, you could take a brief rest and then do it again until you cannot push back up. That's what we call true failure.
Yeah.
It's very hard to achieve on a calisthenics exercise simply because there's multiple muscles involved.
Yeah.
So that's how I would train. If I wanted to maximize the amount of muscle that I wanted to build, then I would train as close to failure as possible. Again, you know, your perception of failure might be a little bit skewed. That's okay. Just do as much as you can, and you know, that way you'll be able to learn. Okay, cool. I know how many reps I've got in reserve.
How often should you train each muscle group, and what would be the best split?
For a complete beginner, I would go with either. Okay, so if you're literally starting from zero.
Yeah, I guess there's someone who's like fully like literally can't do anything, and someone who's like beginner-ish, like they've been to the gym for a bit. What would be like the best protocol?
So if you're someone who has absolutely zero experience, full body, right?
Yeah.
Get in, get out. The number one thing that you're trying to build is consistency. Yeah.
Fuck.
Consistency. No, it's true.
Yeah.
Because if you can consistently turn up to your training session and put in at least half an hour, well, then you've done that for 3 weeks. Guess what? That's really good.
Yeah.
You actually built consistency, because that's going to be the number one foundation. So full body split would be really good. Focus on one exercise, one compound exercise, and all that means is an exercise that targets multiple muscle groups. One compound exercise per kind of movement plane.
So literally pull-ups, push-ups, dips, squats.
That's it. That's literally it, and maybe one core exercise. So that's how I would start if you're really starting out. I'd do that 3 to 4 times a week.
For how long?
I'd do that for until you're able to do sufficient number of reps of, let's say, push-ups and pull-ups. Okay, so what that might look like is if you can do at least 6 reps of pull-ups, then that's a good time now to switch over to the next thing, which is an upper-lower split. And the reason I choose an upper-lower instead of a push-pull leg split is because as a beginner, again, you still need to give your body more time to rest between each session. And also, you don't need to have as many accessory exercises because you're going to benefit so much from the compound exercises. Now, me and Sam, because our training is very skills focused, it's very, very specific, we have to have more volume for particular exercises. So we have a push-pull leg split, kind of, right? But as a beginner, if you're only focusing on like building more muscle, building more raw strength, then focusing on 2 exercises for pull, 2 exercises for push, 2 exercises for legs, and 2 exercises for core. You can put that in an upper-lower split. Do upper twice, lower twice.
There you go.
You're golden.
No excuse not to be the next Arnold Schwarzenegger of calisthenics. When are you oiling up? On to the next question.
Haram.
Consistency, that's the answer. when you consistently ask that question on a consistent basis, then we'll oil up. Best snacks / meals pre-workout for energy and boosts.
Okay.
So I guess that's kind of goes along with the whole digestion thing, but there definitely are some foods that are probably better for you, I would say. So what would constitute a good pre-workout meal in terms of macronutrients? Would it be a banana? Would it be some grass? Would it be a block of butter?
So really it depends. If your session is going to be, again, like I just said in the last question, if you're training close to failure and you've got a lot of volume in your session, then having more carbohydrate or high, what we call high GI, which is high glycemic index carbohydrate, present in the blood will be better for you, right? Because then you've got more of an energy source.
So give me some examples of some high GI foods.
So for example, bananas,
yeah.
Most fruits, to be honest. Basically, foods where there are the sugars are simple and they don't need to be broken down, so there's no complex starches or anything like that. It's simple sugars that your body can use straight away, right? So fruits is good. I personally love dates. Dates I think are incredible.
Yeah.
Honey's another good one.
Yeah,
so things like that are good.
Oats?
Oats are, they're not, well, okay, so it depends, right? What brand you use, because obviously some brands have got more sugar than others. I would say oats are more medium and low GI carbs.
So probably best for like a few hours before?
Few hours before. Or if you're doing like, cardio-based exercises, then, oats are really good because your sessions are going to be longer, so you can tap into that source as you go. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I personally as well, I think caffeine is really,
huge.
Really big.
It's huge, man. Like the more and more I've been reading about like the kind of beneficial and performance effects from caffeine, it seems like kind of everyone should be taking it. And this is a kind of massive caveat. Obviously, some of you guys shouldn't be taking caffeine.
Yeah.
Even me, I have a very low tolerance. I really had to build myself up to it. I used to just have one espresso and I'd kind of be jittery and get anxious. So please only do this at your own discretion. We're not giving you any advice on whether you should take caffeine or not. We don't take pre-workouts. Like I will just take espresso or black Americano. I don't touch pre-workouts because they've got such a high content of caffeine.
And all sorts of other shit sometimes as well.
Yeah, that you just don't need, like all this other shit. So personally, my advice is stay like clear from that shit. If you can deal with it, cool. But if you end up dying of a heart attack, it's not my fault. I told you not to do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, caffeine, electrolyte drinks, but you can just salt your food enough.
So this is an interesting one. So I was actually talking to Sam about this before we started filming. So my current training is very focused on front lever and handstand push-up, which means that my relative strength needs to be as high as possible, which means that I need to be carrying the least amount of water weight.
Mad.
So it really depends. I would say that yes, you obviously should have some salt present because you need that sodium, you need those electrolytes. However, salt also will cause your body to retain more water. So when you're practicing, if you're more advanced like us, and you're doing more advanced skills where you need to be as light as possible, having too much salt is actually going to be a hindrance.
Yeah.
It's going to add too much water weight to you. You're going to find it harder. And it is. We're literally talking margins, half a kilo, but it makes a massive difference.
Only at our level though, and probably for the most of you watching this, probably doesn't necessarily apply. So I'd probably say go sort your foods if you can.
Yeah, if you're training, let's say, you're just going for reps and sets and reps.
Yeah.
Then it's fine. Yeah, go and sort your food. If you're like me, or like Sam, and we have to be very calculated with how we do things now.
Yeah.
Then be careful with how much salt you put in.
Yeah.
But I'd say those are the main things. Like if from a pre-workout perspective.
Carbs.
Yeah, a quick releasing carb. Some protein if you can.
Yeah.
I think is always good. Because then that way at least you have some protein spare in the system. You're not going to break down protein in the muscle, which is actually a very important thing. That's more for training close to failure, using up all of your glycogen stores. If you're training calisthenics and you're doing it from a strength perspective, that's probably not going to happen. And making sure that you've got some caffeine as well is always a plus. If you can't drink caffeine for whatever reason, then obviously it's not.
I think there's others. You can take like beetroot juice, which is has nitric oxide, which is a vasodilator. So that vasodilation means like your blood vessels get thicker. Therefore, you get more kind of oxygen and blood and oxygen transportation throughout the rest of your body. So that could be viewed as another boost. I know a few people like Huberman and those guys, they say that if you can't deal with caffeine, you should go with a nitric oxide booster, which is like arginine or citrulline malate. Again, at your own discretion. Hydration as well.
I was literally about to say that. Yeah,
hydration is huge because also caffeine dehydrates you. So if you're not like drinking at least, I've noticed, and I told you yesterday, if I haven't drank at least a litre of water before my workout, my workouts they're really shit.
Yeah.
Even though they're not like your classic workout where I'm going to be sweating loads. Most of my workouts are sitting around on a chair. I'll do a set. I'll come down, wait for 5 minutes. So it's not that much volume, I guess you could say. But damn, I never really realised it until I started actually drinking a lot of water, how it affected my workouts.
100%, man. 100%.
It's huge. And recovery and just everything.
If you can get a water filter as well, I'd highly recommend it.
Yeah.
I've recently had a water filter, and I swear to God, I cannot go back.
To just normal shit.
Tap water tastes like shit now,
yeah,
honestly.
It does. And some countries have really bad tap water.
The UK now, we've got poo in our water.
Delicious. Yeah, it's extra calories.
We've got cocaine in our water. It might be
that's
a great...
That's why workouts are better.
Yeah.
Cool. So I think that answers that question. Any other last points? Or?
I think that's probably all the main ones.
Well, your go-tos are what? Dates, banana, honey?
Yeah, exactly. Those
Pretty
things.
much the same. I maybe might go for cookies, protein bars, just because I like the sugar.
He can get away with it as well.
Yeah, I'm a
shredded,
bit lucky,
not like me.
Fuck. And be consistent, of course. Gravity Gang Open Day Cali event.
Oh, okay. As in when?
Yeah, or just are we planning on doing it?
100%. So. Just for anyone who doesn't know, so the Gravity Gang is our private calisthenics community. It's where we have all of our calisthenics programs from literally zero all the way up to where Sam and I are now.
Yeah.
And we coach everyone through it. There's literally, it's kind of like a video game.
Yeah.
Right. That's why we love, like, for us, calisthenics is a video game.
Yeah, it is.
And we wanted to share that experience with you guys rather than, doing the traditional kind of boring, here's my app, go and download it and, follow my workouts along. Like, yeah, that's fun, but it'll get boring.
It's all about community, isn't it? It's bringing people together.
Well, calisthenics is community.
Yeah.
At its crux, like, calisthenics is community. I really think that you will struggle to find another sport which is so community-based like calisthenics.
Yeah.
I've never, ever been to a calisthenics park and not felt like I can go and talk to someone.
I've been abroad. I went to Budapest and there was a cool calisthenics park under a bridge. And I made friends with a guy that I couldn't even talk. He couldn't speak English. I couldn't even speak his language, but we bonded over the art of pull-ups. He's like, yeah. I was like, yeah, my form's shit, mate. Thank you for that. But it was cool. Like, we were smiling at each other. So yeah, it brings people together.
That's basically why we've built the Gravity Gang, isn't it? It's to take calisthenics to the masses. So, like I said, it's our way of being able to kind of give people the blueprint to getting to where we are, and obviously becoming better than us, right? No matter what your level. And like I said, the video game aspect is, you can only unlock certain programs once you've completed the one prior to it, which is quite fun because then you can't cheat it, right?
Yeah.
We're not here to give you some sort of crap dream where it's like, oh, you can do a front lever in a month, but you can't even do a pull-up, right? So we've done that in a realistic way. The Gravity Gang meetups is one element of it as well. So like we hold live coaching calls, but also we're also going to hold these in-person meetups.
Yeah, workshops.
So yeah, whole day workshops, we'll meet up, we'll go through particular skills, we'll go through particular exercises, do a workout together, take everyone out for lunch, make a whole day of it, prizes, all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
So in terms of when we're going to do them, I mean, right now we're at 72 members, I think, which is incredible. We've only opened it like for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's literally as soon as we are at a point where we have enough people in there that we can say, okay, cool, guys, we have, X amount of people from wherever around the world. We're going to hold meetups everywhere, right? Not just in London. We're going to be doing stuff in the US. We're going to do stuff in the Middle East. We'll do stuff in Asia. We'll do
Africa. That'd be fucking
Africa.
Awesome.
Maybe even Australia if we get that far.
Yeah.
Because we do have some of the guys in there are from Australia.
Yeah.
So yeah, it really depends on where you guys are from, whether we can get to you. But 100%, the meetups are going to be incredible.
They're definitely going to happen. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, that was a really good question actually. This one is interesting. Any hobbies apart from working out? Almost like I don't have any.
Yeah.
But then I realize we do. It's just you have to think about it. I mean, we're not that boring, honestly.
Yeah. I'd say, to be honest, like as I've gotten older, my hobbies really have gravitated around building versus gravity, you know?
Yeah.
So like for me, like a lot of what I do on a day-to-day basis kind of is all about improving myself.
Yeah.
So, you know, whether it's learning about new things, Sam and I were always like really inquisitive, especially, you know, after uni, once we were in our full-time jobs, we wanted to find other ways of doing stuff, learning new things. So yeah, like really for me, I would say that most of the stuff that I do is kind of conducive of helping build let's say not abilities, but our knowledge, you know?
Or just improving.
Improvement, yeah, self-improvement. I don't want to say that's a hobby because there's so much like corny shit out there now.
Give me like a proper hobby then. Anime, there you go, there's one.
Anime's a hobby. Well, I haven't watched anime in a couple of months. It's hard to say like what I've been doing recently because we've been like full on.
Quite busy,
we're really busy with versus gravity and Gravity Gang.
Things you'd like to do outside that aren't calisthenics. The thing is, for me, they're all kind of fitness related, like hiking, anything activity or adventure based.
Yeah.
I love.
I mean, look, one thing.
It's being outdoors.
Being outdoors, yeah.
Cats, anime. We're boring, aren't
we? We've become boring individuals. I mean, look,
to
be honest, like, look, let's give you some more context. We're 29 years old, right?
Yeah.
So for us, it's a little bit like things are a little bit different. We have got different responsibilities. So for us to kind of get all of our shit done and at the same time be able to have our hobbies, it's quite tough these days.
Not much time. And I truly believe if you want to be like super successful at something, you need to really kind of become laser focused.
Tunnel visioned.
But it's also like, it's not like we got to this point where like, oh fuck everything else. It just naturally happens. And it's pretty much the same with all of our other friends. Like our main focus is self-improvement.
Yeah.
Even though they're successful in their own industries and in their own ways, that's kind of how we all come together is our kind of hunger, competitiveness, desire to just be better on a kind of daily basis.
Yeah.
And I think exercise is literally the best way of doing it.
It's like the cornerstone, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's the one thing that kind of connects all of the other stuff.
Yeah, because as long as that's good, everything else, it's the foundation.
Yeah.
For like any other pillar that you want to build upon. If this is sorted.
But it's because you build discipline.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's actually what it is, because when you go and take on a new adventure, really what stops you from keeping on it is a lack of discipline.
Yeah.
So if you've got discipline, then yeah, you can do anything.
Yeah. Would you say football's still a hobby of yours, or?
Okay, so I used to play a lot of football. I used to play football all the time. I played football from the age of like 6 all the way up until the age of 26. And the only reason I stopped is because I wanted to take calisthenics so seriously.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm a bit of I like to think of myself as a bit of an Eden Hazard, right? I love taking people on, but I also get clattered.
Yeah.
And anyone who, I mean, look, I hate Chelsea, right? But anyone who used to watch Hazard at Chelsea, and he, you know, there'd be pictures of him pulling down his socks and just be covered in blood from all the studs he's taken in that match. That's kind of like me. So that's why I had to stop playing football, because I was so injury prone.
Yeah.
And obviously being injured and doing calisthenics is just, the two don't match up.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that pretty much answers it, right?
Yeah.
So next one is best exercise to achieve front lever, brackets, once you have a minimum requirement of pull-ups. So say once you can do 4 times 10 pull-ups, what would be the single best exercise to achieve the front lever? I already know what you're going to say, but...
No, go on. What am I gonna say?
There's no single best exercise,
there isn't.
really.
There isn't. The thing is, with something like that, you have to break down the exercise into different components. Isometrics, 100%, you've got to do the isometric, right? It's highly specific. If you think about a front lever, literally the movement is, I was talking to Sam about this yesterday, it's a very, very specific movement.
Yeah.
So no matter how much your weighted pull-up is, you won't get the front lever unless you train for the front lever itself, which means you have to do the static. You have to hold the position.
So would you hold it with a band, like the full front lever, or would you do regressions?
I would...
Because I've known people that have achieved it doing both.
It really depends.
Yeah.
It really depends, because you might find that a particular let's say, you know, you're at a level where you're just about to unlock the front lever, but you struggle with the half lay because you've got very poor mobility in your hip flexors.
Yeah.
Then the half lay is obviously a useless progression. If you can't hold it properly because you're limited by mobility, it's a useless progression.
Very
so
true.
Using a band there might be useful. What I would say though is don't be one of those guys. I've seen this so many times on Instagram. People holding front levers with a thick band.
Yeah.
It's pointless, because you literally you change the whole exercise.
Yeah.
Right. and you're giving yourself a false perception of, oh, I'm holding a front lever, I can't be that far away, because then you take the increment of the band that you're using and go, oh, I'm only 35 pounds away from using a front lever. No, that's not how it works.
It's a lot harder to progress with bands as well.
Much harder, because you got to remember, any lever-based exercise, applying a simple bit of physics here, you've got a moment arm. So the force is infinitely greater the further you go away, right? So just because you put a band at your hips doesn't necessarily mean that you're 35 pounds away from a front lever.
Facts.
It's really not like that. So what I would suggest is finding an isometric position that you can hold for at least 6 seconds and working on building as much volume of that isometric position as possible.
So what would be like that, like a tuck?
Yeah, so like if you're starting out, you could do 4 sets of 10 pull-ups. You could probably hold an advanced tuck pull-up, front lever for a good like 6 to 10 seconds. I would work on that progression, and I would do as many quality sets where you can repeat the exact same technique over and over again without obviously fatiguing yourself. And then I would supplement that, and this is an important bit, I would supplement that with building more strength, absolute strength, and also some more muscle. This is where your dynamic exercises come in, because isometrics, they do build muscle, but not very well, right? So doing things like eccentrics, negatives, front lever negatives, or front lever pulls, where you raise from a dead hang position all the way up to inverted hang.
Or rows.
Or rows. Or even just weighted pull-ups.
So what I would say on that is, out of those kind of 3 skill-based ones, not the weighted pull-up, but the negatives, the raises, and the rows, pick one that allows you to feel the lat engagement the most. I'm sure there's some fucking like science nerd out there who's like, oh, technically this one has more muscular activation. I understand that, but what's better? Okay, this one here's got more muscular activation. This is the superior exercise, but I can't do it, and it doesn't allow me to feel the relevant muscles. Or this exercise that Dr. Nerd is telling you, oh no, this is technically not the good one, but this one I can do more consistently. I can progress it way more, and I can feel it in the lats more. This one's the fucking better exercise for you. There is no right or wrong answer. We've met people that literally just got the front lever by doing rows. Cool. I do a row, I can't get scapular retraction. So for me, it's a dead exercise. For me, I love negatives, because when I set myself up at the top, I can really feel the lats and I can go down. The issue with that is that they're fucking tiring. So I can't do that many of them.
Exactly.
So it's just, find one that allows you to just really feel the lat engagement, the retraction, and just feels good for you, and you feel like you can just consistently do it. And look, some of you are more gifted than others. Some of you, it doesn't matter which one you choose, you can just do that and you'll get it. Some of you are more like me, who's basically stupid and can't really figure out how to use his body, and it's taken me months and months and months just to realize how to get my lats involved.
It's a really, really important point. Being gifted is so underplayed.
Yeah.
It's so underplayed, because you'll meet people where they'll be so good at calisthenics, but the reality is they haven't had to train as hard as, say, someone else, right? And it's simply because they are gifted.
And they might have done sports before.
Yeah, they might have done it. Like, genuinely, there's so many factors when it comes into this. So the number one thing I'd say for any skill, static skill, is do a static progression, supplement it with a dynamic exercise, and the most important thing is to manage your intensity and frequency. The more frequent you can train that skill at an intensity that is stimulating enough, the better.
So grease the groove, kind of, to some degree.
Yeah, in some degrees, you have to grease the groove. That's why you see people saying, if you want a front lever, you have to train and prioritize the front lever. They're completely right. You can't do front lever once a week and expect to unlock it in 2 months.
So you're training for front lever now. Tell the people how many times a week you're training it.
Yeah, it's a good question. So right now, my sessions look like this. Monday is a front lever day. Tuesday is a handstand push-up day.
But you still do front lever holds now?
Yeah, I grease the groove on Tuesday with front lever holds.
Yeah.
Right. Again, grease the groove means I'm doing a progression that I can hold relatively comfortably, and I'm not training anywhere near my max. So I'm greasing the groove. I'm literally just keeping it fresh. Yeah. Right. Wednesday I don't train. Thursday I train handstand push-up again, and then I grease the groove.
Yeah. So basically doing it 4 days a week.
Yeah, and then Friday I train front lever again.
Yeah.
So yeah, literally. Lots and lots of frequency, but managed.
Yeah,
not doing it
for
to the point of
beginner, I'd
fatigue.
say twice.
Yeah, twice is enough.
They won't be able to do 4 times a week because there's no regression that would be. Because you probably couldn't even do pull-ups 4 times a week. We could do 100 pull-ups every single day and it wouldn't be anything. And that's not us being like, oh, look how strong we are.
It's experience.
It's just we've been doing them for 5 years.
Yeah.
So consistency, that's the answer. Current goals in terms of skills.
Okay. So.
I'll tell you what, I'll add to that question as well. Current goals and kind of long-term or medium-term goals as well.
Okay. Current goals right now is to get a solid like 15 to 20 second front lever, and also to get a solid 10 reps on a handstand push-up. I'd love to be able to just rep them out. medium to long-term goals, full planche, 100%. I'm already working on it with my coach. We're just, introducing it, keeping it fresh. So when I start, it's not going to be like starting from zero.
Yeah.
Front lever pull-up is another one. I'd love, like my dream skill.
Yeah, it's a dream skill as well.
My dream skill is supinated wide touch front lever. I just think it looks naughty.
Yeah.
It looks so naughty. That's like kind of one of them. And then I'm not too fussed right now about like, Maltese and so I think planche is a big long shot for someone. So just for context, if anyone doesn't know, Sam and I, we're both in the kind of 75 plus kg weight range. He's 6 foot.
Yeah.
I'm 5'11", so we're not exactly short either. I've played football my entire life, so my calves are basically the same size as my quads, mostly because I don't have quads. Sam's also lanky as well.
He's got long legs, yeah.
For us, like to get stuff like that is a much bigger journey than, for example, someone who is like 5'5".
And we're just not naturally gifted at this. Like,
and we're not.
We're 29 as well. Like, we're not playing like the fucking little violin like try for us, but we're not 16.
You just have to be honest with yourself.
And we're fine with that. This is not us crying.
Exactly. If it takes me 10 years to achieve a planche, that's fine. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'll still work on it. So those are mine. What about yours?
Short-term front lever, but like anterior tilt front lever, which is the one that like just looks better. If you want to know what that looks like, basically any video you see of this, someone who's doing like the half lay or full front lever, where it's a lot of hip extension. You kind of get the back that kind of comes down like that and comes up.
Yeah.
If someone heard me say the back comes up, that is sus. That's for the OnlyFans, by the way. Handstand push-up as well. I want it to be bread and butter. My kind of medium goals, and when I mean medium, I mean end of the year. So end of the year would be front lever, because I just think it will take me that long. I want 90-degree handstand push-up. I do want planche. The reason why I'm going for 90-degree first is because I think I know myself well enough to know that because planche is so technically demanding, I think I need to master the 90-degree handstand push-up first before I start doing the planche. So whether it takes me longer for planche, I'm fine. My dream move is the... actually, what do you reckon my dream move is? Let's do a test to see if he actually knows his friend or not.
I've got two answers.
Yeah.
Either the like Maltese or one-arm handstand.
What kind of Maltese though?
Fingertips.
Yeah, he knows. Basically Maltese like that.
Yeah,
on the floor. For me, I think it's like the most beautiful looking move. One-arm handstands, I don't view it as a dream move because I think
you can get it.
I think I can get it. So for me, I don't view it as like something that I might or might not get. I will definitely get one-arm handstand. But bro, it's fucking hard. Like it's genuinely taxing on the body. So I did actually go through a point when I was trying to learn it. I even did a series on my personal Instagram. But the amount of like strain and stress it was putting on my shoulders and my wrists, it was affecting my handstand push-up training. So I just couldn't fit it into my normal training.
It kind of comes back to what we say to anyone who wants to learn skills: pick one or two. Especially as the more advanced you get, you're going to have to start narrowing it even more.
Yeah.
And it's like one-arm handstand. I kind of view it as learning to handstand, which means you're gonna have to spam the shit out of it because it's so technical. Like I don't think you can get any more technical, to be honest, than a one-arm handstand.
But the way I view it is one-arm handstand. How much is that going to carry over to planche and other skills? I don't think it will. Whereas getting really good at 90-degree handstand push-up gets me probably 50% of the way there to planche.
Yeah, because your shoulder's going to be so
insanely good at
strong,
front lever pull-ups gets you 50 to 60% and all the other skills. So you can kind of be tactical with your skill selection. There's certain skills that...
Free gains is what they call it.
Yeah, literally, right? It's the same as if you do weighted calisthenics. If my weighted pull-up was like 100 kilos, I wouldn't be sitting here crying about not being able to do a front lever.
Yeah, exactly.
If my weighted dip was 150, planche is going to come like that. So that's why I'm more tactical with it. I would love a one-arm handstand, but all that's going to do is it's going to take me this far along my journey. But yeah, I think those are some pretty good goals from both of us. They're very similar essentially, but he's kind of more like pull.
I'm more pull, you're more push,
Yeah. How should cardio plus strength be programmed so that you don't limit progress in either?
I think it's going to be very tough to see the same level of progress in both at the same time. And the reason for that is because strength training is very demanding and cardio training is very demanding.
Yeah.
What I would suggest is you would have to it's kind of like learning a skill. You know, if you're going to learn front lever and planche at the same time, one of them you're going to have to prioritize over the other.
I would say 80-20.
Yeah.
Or even more, like 9 to 10.
Yeah, exactly. You have to be tactical, and you have to ask yourself which one's more important to you. Now, that's not to say that you won't improve at both of them at the same time. You will, right? You can improve, for example, your 5K time at the same time as getting stronger. However, you have to also factor in that both of those goals require significant amount of rest.
Yeah.
And making sure, and doing cardio the next day, if it's more than moderate, is going to limit the amount of rest and recovery you actually get between your strength sessions, and vice versa.
So, it's a weird one because you know how I just said 80-10, 80-20? You could also get 100-20. And what I mean by that is that's what I do, right? Strength is my main goal, but I also do 2 or 1 cardio session a week. But that cardio session is so low intensity that if anything, it's boosting my normal training.
That is the way I would suggest that people go, is prioritize one and use the other as a way of improving that.
Yeah.
But if the thing is, like, look, I'm not the best placed person, neither is Sam, to kind of answer the whole hybrid athlete thing, because neither of us are hybrid, like you see the guys who are doing like marathons, high rocks. Like, look, I'm not going to sit here and pretend, right? So in my perception, at least, I think you'd have to pick one, prioritize it, and then use the other one as either an accessory or you slowly creep it up.
Yeah, because otherwise then you are playing the game where it's like 80-20, 70-30, 50-50, which is cool. Like, you can do that if that's what you want to do. But if your main goal is, and I know who asked that question, and answering that person specifically, I think he should do more the method that we're talking about, where his cardio should supplement his training. But my 5Ks are going up every single week, so I am improving in my cardio. But look, I'm not going to get a sub 20-minute 5K anytime soon. I'll get it probably in a year's time, but because I'm doing it, but that's not my goal either. I'm not doing cardio to get a sub 20-minute 5K. I'm doing it to feel better, to get some steps in for the Instagram content, and just to just speed up my recovery. Like, I do think some form of cardio is important, in the same way that if you're just pure cardio, you're going to benefit from doing some push-ups, some lunges, some anything, like just being, unless if you're training to be like a top level athlete at that one thing, or you're a powerlifter or whatever, then maybe doing some, actually no, fuck that. There's not a single sport on the planet where doing some form of cardio isn't going to be beneficial.
Yeah, every athlete does cardio. Yeah,
even if you're some fucking like,
well, even strongmen do it.
Yeah,
even strongmen do cardio. It's beneficial.
Yeah,
100%. But be tactical.
The answer is manage your expectations. Understand why, or like what your goal is. If your goal is to genuinely improve at both, well then it's 50-50 and the progress for each one is going to be slow. If it's 80-20, still the progress is going to be slightly slow for each one. If it's 100 and whatever you add in it, then you need to, that extra thing you're adding needs to be very, very low intensity. In the same form that if your number one goal was to do marathons, if you're adding in some resistance training, which I would recommend only doing body weight, it needs to be super chill. If you're running 6-7 times a week and then you go and do a fucking like gladiator set,
that's what I did, man. When I was training for the half Ironman, I was training like 5 to 6 hours a day, and I just felt awful.
Yeah,
it's because I was trying to keep up calisthenics and weightlifting and train for an Ironman. Stupid idea.
Yeah, it's just not going to work.
Yeah, exactly. So you've got to be a bit smarter than that.
So manage your expectations and be consistent.
I don't know how you keep remembering this.
Mate, it's because I'm consistent with it, so. Right, so our final few questions. So, what is your favorite anime?
I think just from a pure kind of like just enjoyment perspective, like I really love it. I could watch it over and over and over again. I'm same as you, Hunter. In terms of storyline, Attack on Titan.
Yeah.
I think I've watched Attack on Titan like 4 times now. It's like, there's no anime that comes close in terms of story.
It's just annoying though, because like for me the first 3, when I think about it, like brings me genuine like tears of joy, like that feeling you get when you have no idea what's happening. No spoilers, obviously.
Yeah. Don't.
It's just like it's the fucking best thing ever. But the kind of overall story, now I look back at it a bit more negatively and quite. So I'm like, it was good.
But I said this to you before. I think that you're always going to look at it negatively because it was so good and it came to an end.
Yeah,
so
true.
like you're sad. I think inherently, the last season, the last episode, no matter what happens in the end, you're going to be sad. It's the same with Hunter, right?
Yeah.
Although with Hunter, there's a little bit of hope that some way, 20 years later,
if you're watching it, I don't know the name of the manga artist. If there's a slim chance in this world that you're watching this podcast,
I hate you.
Yeah, get the fuck back to work. I will find you and I will force you to finish off Hunter x Hunter. Our kids have got to continue the legacy and watch it.
Yeah, I think, but there's so many good animes out there. Those are my favourite. I know loads of people bang on about Dragon Ball. I didn't watch it when I was growing up.
So JJK slaps.
I still haven't seen the latest season.
If you know. I've heard Solo Leveling's pretty good. We just don't have the time anymore.
It's hard,
We binge stuff. I'm not a one episode every week kind of guy.
Yeah,
I like to just binge all of them in one. We just got too much going on. It's kind of sad, but
in a way, it's not because we're progressing. That's the main thing.
Yeah, true.
Anyway, enough of the weeby stuff.
So if you couldn't do calisthenics...
You forgot being consistent. Nah, he's not consistent anymore. That's
we're going to start it all over again.
Podcast doesn't matter anymore.
Shit.
Don't trust us.
If you couldn't do calisthenics, what other kind of strength sport would you do?
Strength sport?
Yeah, or what kind of other sports tickle your fancy?
I'd love to do a fighting sport, but that's not a strength sport. I think that's the only other thing I would really love to dedicate myself to, because it's actually so similar to calisthenics.
Yeah.
It's one of those, with weightlifting, it's so, or bodybuilding, I think martial arts is a bit different because you can kind of, it's more like a journey.
Yeah.
I feel like bodybuilding, and look, correct me if I'm wrong, if you guys are weightlifters, whatever, you can feel free to send me hate. But I feel like it's a little bit less like a journey. I feel like calisthenics is genuinely a journey.
Yeah.
And I get the same vibe from a
what
martial
arts
art.
would you do though?
Definitely a striking sport.
Yeah.
And I'd pick one where you can use your legs, so kickboxing, Muay Thai, one of those.
Something about it just looks sick. I think with our body proportions as well, we'd probably be better at that than boxing. I feel like it's just so technical that I'd never get to a decent level.
I've done boxing, and to be honest, whilst I loved it, I feel like I'd enjoy having something that's a bit more total movement, based. I would also like to do some grappling. I think,
wrestling or grappling?
Absolutely not. We get absolutely smoked at wrestling.
Would. I've heard people just dislocate knees. It's we're too late for that, I think.
Yeah, look, striking sport, Muay Thai, kickboxing. To be honest, if we quote unquote complete calisthenics and do, get our long-term goals, I'm 100% doing it.
Yeah,
100%.
I do fucking wish I could go back in time and force my parents to push me into grappling, like Greco-Roman or freestyle. Mate, you'd be a beast. And actually, fun fact, a lot of people that progress like this at calisthenics.
Well, we know Callan, who goes to gymnasium. Yeah. Bro, that guy.
They pick shit up so fucking quickly.
He does MMA, doesn't he?
I think so, yeah.
So this guy who goes to the gym that we go to, gymnasium, shout out to Andy and the team. There's a guy there who is an MMA fighter, picks up calisthenics. 3 months in, he's doing L-sit to handstand.
Yes, mad.
And it's better than both. I was just like, dude, come on. 3 months.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's crazy.
And his weighted games, fucking
really strong, man. Really strong. And it's because he just completely is in tune with his body, and also
the conditioning,
cardio, the fascia, everything about it. Yeah,
it's a natural sport. I guess you could argue. You know what, calisthenics is a natural sport up until you get to
advanced stuff.
Because I realised gymnastics. When I mean gymnastics, we always refer to the rings. You're basically doing stuff in the least efficient way possible.
Yeah.
If I'm to get over into this position, what's the least efficient way of me doing it with straight arms?
Yeah.
So it's kind of, in some way, gymnastics is a bit stupid. Let's see how we can make things the hardest possible.
We're going to get so much hate now.
No, but I mean it in terms of respect or whatever. Because obviously, gymnastics is...
It's the epitome of human strength, I think, in my opinion. There is no other sport. I don't care whether, you're talking about strongman, powerlifting. Sorry, respect for you guys, but kindly, nah. Gymnastics,
next level,
if you're an elite level gymnast and you're doing the rings at the Olympics, you are the pinnacle of human strength, in my opinion.
I guess legs is the only thing that is taken out of the equation.
Yeah, but even then, they're doing backflips and shit. They can jump really high. So I saw a video today of how high can a gymnast backflip, and literally they had 6 mattresses.
Damn.
And he managed to land it standing.
You can jump off that gate there. You can see a gymnast just backflip into it.
Backflip up.
That is mad.
Crazy. So yeah.
So that I quite like stuff like arm wrestling. I feel like that's the sort of sport I do when I'm older.
I think you'd be good at it.
Just so I've got that thingy strength. Yeah. You can't mention it here, but if you know, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that.
Yeah, you'd be good at it.
To be fair, strongman's fun, but we haven't got the genetics for it to be elite level. But you know what? I think I was gonna say strongman and arm wrestling, but after his son said martial arts, I think I'd actually go with martial arts.
Yeah.
A form of kickboxing.
I think elite level chess, mate. And
Mate, that's a
snooker.
brain box. What about darts?
Oh.
And with that, goodbye. I think that's it. So yeah, that was a sick episode. We'll definitely do more of these.
Was that all the questions?
That's all the questions.
Beautiful.
I don't know how long it's been.
You should have told me you were going to end with that.
I know, I was tempted, but then you wouldn't have known about it.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, honestly, I think that's been a really good episode, man.
Yeah, so obviously, if you guys want to learn more about the Gravity Gang itself, link in the bio, you can access it straight away. Or if you want to know more, literally.
Well, we'll put the link in the description of this video as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Sam said, just drop us a message. You know, if you want to get involved.
Follow us on Instagram, by that's kind of our main platform. I mean, probably most of the people that are watching this now already follow us on Instagram.
Yeah.
But if you're just watching this,
tell your mum, tell your dad, tell your friends.
Everyone, mate. Your ex
tell
as
your
well.
girlfriend.
Your ex is already following us. So.
Yeah.
There we go, mate.
But yeah, it's been a good one.
Cool. On to the next one.